Hey there, I'm Tony from the Marathon Mates. Are you new to running? Do you want to know some of the tips and tricks from those that have raced some of the biggest races on the planet? On this episode, we're going to share our tips and tricks to help make your running and race day experiences so much better. We'll talk about all those things that runners do, but don't necessarily talk about openly. We've got the experience and the knowledge as we're the only podcast with 4 7-star world major marathon finishers as co-hosts. This is the Flying Runr Podcast. Are you ready to run? Let's go.
Welcome to the thrilling world of the Flying Runr, brought to you by the Marathon Mates.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to the Flying Runr. This is episode 121, I think, and I'm Tony from the Marathon Mates. Recently, we were having a catch-up with our marathon mates, and we started to get talking about some of the things that we all do, but take it for granted that everyone else knows these tips and tricks. Whether it's getting on Strava to share your running journey or tracking the kilometers run in your shoes, so you know how old they are, or whether it's knowing just simply how to register for a race. We've got you covered tonight. However, before we do that, as usual, I'm joined by my marathon mates, Tim, Tara, and Lucia. Hey guys, bit of a shortened show, but welcome. How have you been?
Well, I'm in a bit of trauma at the moment. And before any of our listeners panic, I'm okay. I just got a new iPhone, so I'm just trying to transfer data from one phone to the other, and I'm on about 3.5 hours. It's taken so far. But other than that, doing good.
But we're recording this some time ago, and we're now in the end of October. So
yeah,
let's hope.
Let's hope. Yeah, the downloads have completed by then. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a short episode, isn't it? Because you're not meant to be even here, Tony. I don't know. You're somewhere in Europe by about now.
Yeah, I think I've lost track of time with all these additional pre-records that you've put in. But yes, I believe I'm probably in Whitby on the North Yorkshire coast. So
what do they say? While the cat... What do they say? When the cat's away, the mice will play. Well, you know, we've all decided we'll take a holiday during that time and pre-record these short episodes. So it's even better.
Absolutely. But we are recording this the day after the NRL Grand Final, and congratulations to the Brisbane Broncos for all the Queenslanders out there, NRLW premiers and NRL premiers. So that's still going to be relevant come the end of October. So because we are on a short version of the show, there's no news this week. Instead, we're going to jump straight into the main topic. And that main topic is things that runners need to know. Now, there's a funny story behind this episode, but I won't mention it because there may be an embarrassed member of one of our marathon mates. But we were having lunch a few weeks ago, and the topic came up about things that runners should know. So to kick things off, I'll start with something that should be a no-brainer, but believe me, it's not. Lucia, tell me about Strava. What is it, and how do you use it?
So Strava is an app in which you can record any type of activity, whether that be run, swim, gym, or any type of physical activity. So it's an app you download, and so people are able to see what you do. You have followers, kind of like you do on Facebook, Instagram. People give you kudos, which is similar to a like on Facebook. They can comment, and Strava's connected to a lot of other apps. So for instance, I believe it's connected to Run Down Under as to a way to track how far people are going. So it's a good way for you to track how you're going and it's also a way for people to see what you're doing, and companies can do a number of challenges. So, for instance, Nike did one just prior to the Sydney Marathon. You had to run different legs, and if you completed all the legs, you had to go to a certain point on a certain day to try and get a ticket to see, I think it was Kipchoge and her son the day after the marathon. So you can do challenges, win prizes, but it can get very competitive. People get very competitive because I know some people actually use a fake name, and so therefore other people don't actually see what they're doing. And then you think, oh, well, I gave you a kudos. Why aren't you giving me a kudos as well? So it's a good way to track what you're doing. And it also keeps a log of how many Ks you've done for the year, how many activities, different milestones. So, yeah, it can be good and bad at the same time.
It's almost mandatory for runners, right? So, which is one of the things that caught us by surprise when we were talking, and one of our crew actually hadn't heard of Strava. So it is almost like a mandatory thing. And we've all heard the saying, if it's not on Strava, did it really
didn't happen?
The other thing with Strava is it's got all the maps in your area. So if you click on the maps section, you can actually see running courses near your place where you live or where you're running.
I think that's only for the premium.
No, I've got it now.
Yes, which I should have mentioned. There's a free Strava and there's a premium Strava, and there are different functions with premium Strava in which you have to pay for. And I'm one of those that I won't pay for it because I'm like, it's free, I ain't doing it, even though I'm tempted sometimes, but it's principle for me.
Yeah. So there is a maps function in there that shows you running courses in the area and where you can run and can't run. So yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
Lucia, I don't think it's principle. I think it's being cheap. But anyway.
If anyone knows Strava and wants to give me a free subscription or any of the marathon mates, hit us up.
Yeah, but in all honesty, I pay for the subscription, and really, I'm not sure whether you get value for money out of it. So I think that's something that for the viewers to decide. You can set more goals and do some things with it, but I don't. It's been so long since I had the free version. I don't even know what's in the free version nowadays. But Strava, if you're starting running, let's make sure you get onto it. Now, the other thing that caught us by surprise that same lunch was a predicted race time. So when you register for a race, you're often asked for a predicted race time, and one of our friends was incredibly honest with that race time, and right around the table we went, no! So Tara, is it okay to smudge your predicted race time?
Is it okay, or is it something that we do? All right, so it's not okay if you're a 5-hour 30 runner and you put your time down as 3 hours 30. That is definitely not an okay thing because you are going to get swept up with all the very, very fast runners. However, as we all know with these major marathons, there's very strict cutoffs, and places like Boston and stuff like that obviously ask for your proof that you can run that time, but there's a lot of races, that don't ask for your proof of race time. So when I say that, it means you need to prove that you've run a certain time to be put into that corral from a previous race. It doesn't have to be another major, it just has to be from another marathon. So say, for example, Tokyo, they do not ask for proof of time. So what you can do with Tokyo, for example, because of the strict cutoffs, it is best to get as far up those corrals as you can. Don't put down that if you're a 5-hour 30 runner and you know you can actually run a little bit to that sort of time, maybe put down like a 5 to a 4.5 hour, I think is probably more realistic. You're going to get further up in those corrals and you're going to pass through those cutoffs, as long as you're aware that you need to keep away from the very, very fast runners that are with you. So yes, it is okay. Morally, is it okay ethically, I don't know.
But who hasn't done it?
I've done it.
Yes, I with Amsterdam, which I think we've just run. There may or may not have been a little bit of smudging on our finish times, and hence the reason why we're starting at 9:17 instead of 9:43. So, yeah. So sometimes you just got to do it. So we're not saying it's ethically right or ethically wrong. You are going to get some annoyed people that you're running with. Make sure if you are going to smudge your predicted race time, just make sure you're right in the left-hand lane so that you're giving the faster runners as much space as you can. Tim,
when I wrote the question, I called it smudging because is it really lying or cheating or is it just telling a little bit of a white lie? I think somewhere in the middle.
If you've got a belief that you could do that time, I think it's intention. You're setting an intention, you're not lying. So, Tim, do running shoes have an expiry date?
Yes, 100% they do. They won't tell you necessarily on the packaging of the shoe, but running shoes are an engineered product. They're put together with a lot of science and a lot of engineering inside of them, inside the foams, inside the synthetic uppers, the liners, all sorts of things in there. So over time, the foams and the uppers will perish over time. You won't get the same sort of spring back on the rubber or the shoe itself. And the foams. So it is really important that you track your kilometers. For most running shoes, you'll get somewhere between 500 and 700 kilometers out of them. And probably about a year to 18 months is probably the time frame that you should be using it. After that time, after 500 to 700 kilometers or 18 months, a year to 18 months, you really should be throwing them into the pile for walking or just day-to-day use, not for running. Otherwise, you'll start to injure yourself when you run, and that's not fun.
Yeah, agreed. Lucia, warm-ups. I know that you are so dedicated in your warm-ups and your training in general, but sometimes you've got to ask, are warm-ups optional or should they be mandatory?
Okay, I probably should say they should be mandatory, but I'm the worst. I don't warm up. And when I join my run club on a Saturday, the group I join with, the person knows, she doesn't even bother asking me. Like she's like, Luch, you just do your own thing. I think a few stretches, definitely, it does get the body ready for it. But to me, everyone is different. So it's a personal opinion. I'm not the biggest warm-up fan of warming up. As I say, when I'm doing a marathon, I've got 41 Ks to warm up. But then obviously, if it's a cold day, I may do a few stretches just to get the blood flowing. So I think ultimately it depends on the condition and the distance. Unless you're an elite, unless you're going for a win, a PB, are you really going to do like a warm up for a 5K race? I don't think so. So it's dependent on the situation.
Yeah, and you've answered that pretty well because it is an individual thing. A lot of people need a warm-up to get that confidence to get on that start line, but some people will use that first kilometre or so to get the blood flowing, start off a little bit slower. Some people are really dedicated. They'll do their dynamic stretching and whatnot, and I think, Tim, you probably would know more about the research there. It's mixed. Some people will tell you that it's absolutely beneficial, while others will say it doesn't have that much of an impact. So, all right, we're getting through this a very short episode, which is awesome. Tara, does running slower actually help you to run faster?
Absolutely. It depends entirely how slow you're going and what your aim is, but Tim and I will always, well, Tim not necessarily unless he's running with me, but my long runs are always done at a slow, steady pace. That is to keep the longevity in the body, and it also is just teaching that body that rhythmic, continuous movement that you need to go faster. So I know when I'm actually in peak training, I will run faster for my short runs, but my long runs are always slower. And it does actually speed you up for your marathon. It just teaches your cardiovascular system that that's what you need to do. So you need to be aware that not every run is slow, though. So some of them need to actually be sped up, especially those shorter ones. Or you can do sprints in the middle of your slow run. But yeah, slowing down actually does make you run faster, believe it or not. And there's a lot of scientific evidence behind that.
Yes, the little thing called zone 2, which a lot of people talk about. I can go for a walk and I'll be in zone 2. So I don't know how beneficial running in zone 2 is for someone like myself. But Tim, this sort of follows on from Lucia's answer before. But do you need to stretch before you run?
Again, very similar to Lucia's question. It is basically a personal preference. For instance, for me, myself, I notice I get tightened muscles towards the end of the week, and before my long run, I do like to do just a quick 5-minute stretch, not even that, bend over, touch my toes a couple of times, swing the legs, just to loosen things up before I start going. But it is an optional thing, and you're right, Tony, as you said it before, the science is quite hit and miss if stretching actually does a lot for you. But for me, it's a nice feeling. It makes me feel a little bit better when I get going and not so stiff and sore over that first kilometre. And it really is a personal preference. But I definitely stretch after a run. And I find there are benefits for me personally when I stretch after a run, just as I'm cooling everything down.
Excellent. Great answer. Lucia, when is the best time to register for a race to guarantee entry?
My theory is as soon as you're committed, as soon as you've worked out a plan, and if there's early bird, get in, because I'm actually about to register for another race in April next year because they had a sale. So if you work out your plan, sometimes when it's a long weekend or Black Friday, companies will do sales. But as soon as you've decided to do a race, as soon as the registration's open, I personally do it straight away because I don't want to run the risk. Classic example, Gold Coast. Gold Coast previously never used to sell out in the half and the full, but for 2025, I think the half and the full sold out within like a day and a half. So don't delay. If you know you're going to do it, do it. But then saying that, some races don't allow you to transfer to other people. Some races do allow you to refund. So also read the T's and C's. So if you're on the fence, if you're able to transfer or get a refund, I say do it. But if you're on the fence and if you can't do either, then maybe wait till you're a bit more committed, because most races will also post updates like saying 50% sold out, 75% sold out. So also keep an eye on the races' websites, but get in quick, I say.
When's the worst time to register for a race?
After entries have sold out.
The morning of.
The morning
turning
of.
Turning up and registering on race day at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah,
the day before is always a classic. When the expo starts, people there's a lot of bad times, but
people get upset because their name's not on their bib.
Yeah. Hey, Tara, hydration is a big topic a lot of people have when they start running. Can you really overhydrate during a run?
With water and electrolytes, definitely. So if it's with water, it's called water intoxication. So it actually causes your body to have a chemical imbalance in it, and your body can't clear it out naturally then by sweating or urinating. So drinking too much water actually dilutes your blood and decreases the electrolytes in your body, especially the sodium. So if that happens, it's a thing called hyponatremia. And now I've actually had that, and it's not nice. So as a result, water moves into your body cells and causes them to swell. And when you get too much water in your brain cells, it increases pressure on your brain and affects how it works. So then you can have some altered mental status, and it changes your awareness as to what's happening around you. So having a good balance and being aware of what you need electrolyte-wise and water-wise is so important, especially on hot days. If you are drinking a lot of water, make sure that you're replacing that with a lot of electrolytes to compensate for the sodium, potassium, and all those things that you're losing through sweat as well, because it's very important for your body. So yes, you can.
Awesome. Great answer. Tim, is a marathon really 42.2 Ks, or can you trust your watch?
So I'll answer that in two parts. Is it really a 42.2 kilometre run? Yes and no. It's actually 42.195 kilometres, but rounding it off to 42.2, yes, it is if you follow the exact centre line of the course. But the reality is no, it's not 42.195 kilometres, because inevitably you won't run the centre line of the course. You will pass people. You'll step off to grab some water on the drink stations. So typically when I run a marathon, it's anywhere from 42.7 kilometres to maybe 43.9 kilometres or 44 kilometres that you run. As far as can you trust your watch? Yes and no again. You will notice that it will get lost in certain times, particularly big cities. So we're recording this now a week out from Chicago, and I can tell you if you're running Chicago, the watch gets lost. The GPS signals get lost in amongst the tall buildings, as it does in Tokyo as well. And as a result, its calculations are all screwed up, and you run different kilometers, and it will beep at different times. And because you're not following the center line on the course, your watch will beep every kilometer, but it won't line up with the kilometer markers on the side of the course. So inevitably, yes, a marathon is technically 42.2 kilometers, but no, you will run more than that.
Absolutely. And one of the things for our new runners, when you go to work and say, I ran the Sydney Marathon last week, you will always have someone say, and how long was that? So just because we know it's a marathon doesn't mean that everyone knows what a marathon is. So, hey, Luch, I don't know if Tim has scheduled these questions in any particular order, but looking at the next one, maybe I'm thinking he has. So, Lucia, if I eat junk food before a run, will I still run the same as eating healthy food?
Now, how I'm going to answer this, it may shock you guys, and it's also going to shock our listeners as well, because as we know, I do have a very sweet tooth. I've got no problem in having a donut post-run. I may have pizza pre-run, but surprisingly, even I have limits. I won't eat junk food before a run because you don't know how it's going to go with your stomach. But in all honesty, I can't believe I'm going to answer the question this way. If you are going to eat something before a run, make it healthy, because the chances of it reacting with your body are less than if you have, let's say, 2 or 3 donuts pre-run, because all the additives, the sugars may not sit so well in your body. So if you are going to have something to eat, have something healthier before a run, and then save the junk for afterwards.
Yeah.
And I bet you guys didn't think I was going to answer it that way, did you?
We knew you would, because at heart, you're a healthy person. So
now,
we know
can I just go off script for a sec? We can definitely tell Tim does as our listeners know, Tim does the run sheets, but he's left an important question out, which I hope no one minds that I'm going to ask Tim this, but are pre-weeks really a thing?
No. Yeah, next question.
Tara.
Just new runners. That's a bit confusing for new runners.
Yeah. Tara, is treadmill running still running?
Absolutely it is, without a doubt. So treadmill running, sorry, I'm trying to not be distracted by Tim and Lucia having an argument between themselves in the background here.
No, we'll be professional, Tara. That's all right. Keep going.
Treadmill running is definitely still running. I love treadmill running. I know a lot of people don't. I am very happy to sit there for my hour-long run. It's sort of a bit of a it depends on where you are on the treadmill. If you're sitting next to somebody who's yabbing away on the treadmill next to you, it's not very interesting and fun. I'm lucky enough to have a treadmill at home, so I'm in the privacy of my own home where I can watch what I want to do. I have a program called iFit, so I actually follow a trainer on iFit. Makes it a little bit more interesting. But yes, treadmill running is definitely still running. Do not discount if you can only get on a treadmill to run, do it. If that's what makes you happy, if that's the times that you can run is only on a treadmill, do not call yourself a non-runner for not running out on the road. Absolutely. Treadmill running is running.
In fact, a lot of people would actually probably start their running journey on a treadmill in a gym somewhere. So, hey, Tim, how do you manage chafing?
Well, there's chafing and there's chafing, right? So for me, chafing is controlled using a product called Body Glide. It's well known within the running industry and also the cycling industry. It's a little blue container or pink container, and it's a balm that you just rub on yourself, and it will protect you from it. There's other ones out there. Body Butter's one, or Squirrel's nut butter, and then use Vaseline as well. What you're trying to do is provide a barrier between your clothing and your skin, so that when the rubbing of the clothing on your skin occurs, you don't chafe, and that's really what it's there for. But yeah, 100% every time I run. Bit of Body Glide between the legs, between the under the underarms, and on my nipples.
Excellent. Lucia, should running hurt?
Sometimes it should, to make you realize that you need to do things right. So, for instance, if you like, sometimes people think, oh yeah, I can just do a marathon with no training. Should you hurt 100%? Because you've got to respect the distance, but it depends on the type of hurt. So there's the pain, like if you feel a niggle, how, like, you then need to assess how bad is it. If it's only, like, if it doesn't last long, just keep an eye on it. But if you're doing more running and if the pain intensifies, that shouldn't hurt, and that's when you should go get it checked out. So, and then by it hurting, you know you're doing the work as well, because crossing the finish line of a marathon, find me someone that can honestly say you've never hurt finishing a marathon. I think you'd find it hard to believe. Oh, come on, Tim.
Yeah, but he runs with me, Lucia, so.
He tells us that he's got this front, Lucia, in case you haven't worked that out.
I should know by now.
Tim says things like an easy 18K, and, you know, he's a serious runner. So easy actually stands for slower than normal, right? So, but for a lot of people, it's he's saying it's easy. You know, I can't even get to 18K at the moment. So, yeah, it's all a front, Tim.
But ultimately, it shouldn't hurt. It can hurt, but it can be good hurt, and it can be bad hurt. So you just need to assess what type of hurt it is.
Yeah, I'm running hurt at the moment for the listeners out there, and I've got 2 weeks of hopefully some recovery before I run Amsterdam that I've already done when this episode comes out. So
I actually have a saying behind that one there, Lucia, and it's get comfortable being uncomfortable. And as a runner, that's, if you want to run marathons, especially any distance, just get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Hey, Tara, should I stop my run if it starts to rain?
Oh, now that's a personal one. Me, no. Other people, maybe yes. I love running in the rain. I'll actually wait, and if I hear the rain on the roof, I'm out there. So that to me is my ideal happy place. I get to splash in puddles and be a kid again, and nobody looks at me and goes, "You're weird." Or they do, and I really don't care, but it's fun. So if it's going to be minus 12 degrees and raining, yeah, you probably should stop your run, and I probably would draw my line there as well. So, but yeah, a bit of summer rain in Queensland. Go for it.
The philosophy we use is if you race in it, you will train in it. So if it's hot or cold or windy or rainy, if that's what it could be on race day, then you've got to train in it so that you're familiar with it.
I think tropical cyclones are probably a different kettle of fish. I'd probably pull up stumps during if one of those. Yeah, lightning's probably a bit dangerous, but yeah, there have been many summer runs where I've just been wishing a shower would come through to cool things down. So, Tim, does running with others really make you happier?
Yes, 100%. Otherwise, parkrun would never exist, would it? It is one of those things that is being shown. I think there are some scientific studies out there, but running happy is actually a way of being able to enjoy the run a little bit more. When you enjoy it, the endorphins get going and you actually feel better when you're running. So yes, running happier and running with others does make you happier overall. So 100%.
And just another little tip, running with a smile on your face actually makes it feel better too. So if you're in pain and grimacing, that run's going to be hard. But if you can somehow put a smile on your face, do it, because it does seem to work psychologically. That starts to make the run a little bit better. Hey,
and if you don't have to run with, just say hello to the people as you run past them. Smile and wave.
Yeah, some people will look at you really weird when you do that, but that shouldn't stop you from doing it. So,
I think that's only if you're in Sydney.
Lucia, do toenails really get lost?
Oh, yes. I'm on the verge, probably since about Goldie. I've got one that just, like, it's black as anything, and it just doesn't want to come off. I thought it was getting close, but no, it's still, but it can, sometimes it can happen to people every single race. Some people can go the whole running journey without losing one. But we often say at Run Club that when you lose a toenail, you are officially a runner. So don't be scared if it happens. It's just one of those things. But it's a sign. It's kind of a rite of passage.
It is. They go lost, they go missing, they go.
And don't believe that saying, or when people say you'll lose toenails if your shoes are too tight or too small, that's not the case either. I think genetics and your feet makeup determine whether or not you're going to lose toenails. Obviously, small shoes are not going to help, but if you're running downhill or anything like that, you're definitely losing a toenail.
Hey, I'm Tara. This is a relevant one for yourself. Can you train your gut?
Yes, you can. Your gut is a muscle, so it's like every other muscle in your body. The more you train it, the better it is. So going back to Lucia eating donuts before runs, not that she does, but say, for example, if Lucia actually trained her stomach to do that, she would be able to do that. However, it can take a very long time to do that. It's like trying to find your triceps when you go to the gym and you've been working on tricep dips for 3 million years and you still don't find them. So your gut is one of those muscles that's really quite hard to train, but you can train it to eat whatever you want. I'm not willing to do that, so I stick to plain, boring, neutral foods that it doesn't have to work hard on. But yes, you can train it, but I'm not going to. I'm not willing to do enough training already.
Absolutely. And Tim, the final question, why do you wear compression socks?
It started a long time ago, to be honest. And I sit there and I think sometimes it's more of a comfort thing or a mental thing for me. But I started originally because I used to get a lot of pain in my calves and a lot of knotted muscles in my calves. And I thought I'd give some compression sleeves a go on my calves. And I found that they weren't so sore when I was running, and I found that I wasn't getting as knotted. They still knot up, but not as intense as they were. And I think it's the compression on the muscles and the blood flow in that area just keeps everything contained while you're running, and it stops it doing what it does. So that worked for me, and I'm very much a person of habit that I will not run without them now. And I feel comfortable running in them. They feel like it. They're meant to be running there with me. The times I don't run in them because I'm, out somewhere and I thought, I'll just run 100 meters down the street without my sleeves. It feels weird. It feels really weird not to run in them. So for me, it's a comfort thing, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, and I also wear compression socks, and it came about for me because, as some of you may be aware, I've had calf issues ever since I started running. And, when you tear a calf muscle, it just feels like you just want to put a strap around it and tighten it in, right? Just to try and keep it locked in. And that's the feeling that I had very early, where the calf would just pop. And so compression socks helped me get that tightness around the popped part of the calf muscle, and now I think it's more mental than anything else. But yeah, it's like I don't know if I could run without them. They've become that locked into my psyche, and maybe that's something I should be looking at next year. So interesting.
People who may not, do you still wear normal socks and then your compression? It's like what did the both of you guys do?
Yeah, it's like a sleeve. So the sleeve sits, just above the ankle, I guess, and just below the knee. So then you're just wearing your normal socks with your shoes. So you've got in my case, you've got a tiny little piece of skin between sock and the calf sleeve. So
same, and weird ass tan marks on my legs now because of it. So
yeah, and once again, it's one of those things, Lucia, where the research is out. A lot of people say a lot of the studies indicate that the calf sleeves themselves don't actually help a great deal while you're running. However, but from a mental perspective, a lot of people feel more secure in their stride by wearing calf sleeves. So in that case, I think to me, that's helping. So, well, I hope we've been able to help some of the new runners. And it's also been positive that we've had a little bit of fun along the way. But it's that time of the week, that time where everyone looks forward to it. Tim, what's your tip for the week?
Lace up tight, real snug. Feel the ground like a friendly hug. Run past worries, leave them behind. Chase the wind, see what you find. Tim's tip, just keep your pace. No need to win, no need to race. Feel the earth, feel the sky. Tim's tip says just give it a try.
Thanks, Tony. As you've sort of seen here tonight, we're all a big pool of knowledge from many years of running. So if you are a new runner or you're coming into the world of running for a first time, it's good to ask questions of other runners, other people. Get to know people in either a running club or a park run. You can even send us emails or messages and we'll answer the questions for you. There really isn't anything such as a dumb question when it comes to running. We've all been there. We've all done it before. And it's better to get the question out of your system and to answer it rather than to stuff around, trialing different things and going down different paths when people have already done that and come up with some solutions along the way. So like the calf sleeves, which we're just talking about, whether it works or whether it doesn't, we can at least give you some advice on that, or we can give you advice on gut efforts or how to enter into a race. So yeah, definitely speak up and talk to other people, and don't be scared to ask those questions because they will help you become a better runner over time.
Absolutely. So it's time to wrap things up for this shortened episode. I hope you've had a great time tonight. We certainly have. And as always, I cannot wait to catch up with you guys when I get back from the Amsterdam trip. So I'm really looking forward to this. We love making this podcast for you, our listeners. Let us know what you think by messaging us on any of the social media, Instagram, Facebook, or emailing us at happyrunning@flyingrunner.com. Don't forget, runner is RUNR. Got running tips, or if you've got any questions, we'd love to hear them, and we would love to answer them on air. So please just let us know. You can watch this episode on Spotify and YouTube, or listen on Apple, Amazon, and all major platforms. Every step counts. Keep running, and we're going to see you next time on the Flying Runr Podcast. Happy running.
Happy running.